everyone, welcome back. Lipa and Callum Turner got married, and the question everybody wants to know is not just, are they compatible? The real question is, why him? Why did one of the most glamorous women in pop choose this brooding British actor? Because on the surface, this looks polished and glamorous, but astrology never stops at the photograph. And with asteroids involved, there's a whole other story underneath the beautiful picture. The asteroids always tell us where the juicy stuff is buried. Before I even get into the attraction between them, I want to see whether the chart shows bride and groom symbolism. Because sometimes a wedding is just a wedding. And sometimes the asteroids are sitting there with rice in their hands before the couple even arrives. His union and Lilith conjunct her vertex. Union says bond. Lilith says sexy wildness, and the vertex is a fated point. So this is not just, I met Callum and we fell in love. This is the chart showing a fated meeting that pulls her into a union where the untamed feminine cannot be owned or domesticated. This is strong because her whole public image already has that glamorous, sensual, feminine power because her Lilith conjuncts her ascendant. So with his Lilith on her vertex, he activates the part of her that feels magnetic, free, and unfiltered. Union is the glue, the knot, the asteroid that says two separate lives are now being braided into one fated story. Now, I don't have his birth time, but placed at noon, his moon is very close to her north node. And if that conjunction is active, this is one of the strongest emotional bond indicators in Synastry. Moon North Node connections can be very hard to dissolve because the moon attaches emotionally, and the node gives the attachment a feeling of destiny and meaning. And that is the glue. So the bond becomes more than affection. It brings in the theme of emotionally bonded fate. His Aphrodite and South Node conjuncts her IC and Angel. The IC is where your inner child lives. It's emotional safety, the place behind the public image. When someone's planets or asteroids hit your IC, they bring the energies to your inner sanctuary. So his Aphrodite there, it means he brings beauty, sensuality, and feminine enchantment into her private emotional world. Not just, I'm attracted to you, but more like he touches the part of her that wants to feel beautiful when nobody is watching. The South Node adds history. It can feel familiar, almost remembered. Like his energy walks into the deepest room of her chart and does not feel like a stranger. And with Angel there may be a feeling of protection, best friend's energy, or even spiritual shelter around their bond. His Ceres, Apollo, Humpty Dumpty, and Pholus and Grimm conjuncts her ascendant. The ascendant is the doorway of the chart. It's the image we show the world. So when his asteroids are there, he is sitting right on the threshold of her identity. Ceres brings care and nurturing. Apollo is the god of beauty and the arts. Humpty Dumpty brings vulnerability, the part of the story that can crack, fall, or need to be put back together. Pholus is the energy that brings life-changing events in an explosive way. And Grimm brings the fairy tale, but not the clean version. Grimm is the old forest, the beautiful story with shadows underneath the trees. And here is where it gets interesting, and where Humpty Dumpty actually starts to make sense. His Chiron conjuncts her moon, Karma, and Humpty Dumpty. Now, I am not always a fan of Chiron because people can overuse it and turn every Synastry chart into a healing workshop. But with Humpty Dumpty sitting there too, this becomes more in line with fracture and healing. Karma brings the feeling of old, unfinished business. And Humpty Dumpty is the symbol of the fall, the broken pieces and the parts that cannot easily be put back together. Then his Chiron comes in and touches all of it. So there may be a strange healing signature here in a mythic way. The wound and the broken pieces are sitting in the same room, and his presence may activate both her karmic pain and the possibility of repair. His Jupiter also conjuncts her Reiki and divine asteroids. Jupiter expands whatever it touches. Reiki is the healing current, and divine gives the connection a spiritual quality. So alongside the fracture, there is also a signature of blessing, healing, and restoration. Her Mistral and Hermione conjuncts his sun. She has a spellbinding effect on him. She enchants and charms him. Mistral is the powerful wind. So with her Mistral on his sun, her presence feels like something moving through his life force. There's a gust, a breath of magic that wakes him up and pulls him toward her. This makes the enchantment feel alive. It's not just a spell sitting still on his sun. It's a spell with movement behind it. Her Hermione charms him, but her Mistral carries that charm through him like wind through an open window. Now his Alma and Ishtar conjuncts her Descendant. The Descendant is the relationship doorway. It's on the cusp that rules the house of committed relationships. So when his Alma is there, he comes through as a soulmate partner figure. This makes the connection feel like something she is meant to meet through commitment, intimacy, and partnership. Ishtar is the goddess of passion, power, and war. She is ancient feminine force. So with his Ishtar on her Descendant, he activates her desire nature, her goddess nature, and the part of her that wants partnership to feel alive, magnetic, and powerful. Now, Mercury conjuncts Admetus. Admetus brings karmic glue. It brings endurance, obligation, and the feeling that something is not easily dissolved. This is the mental part becoming part of the karmic glue, because Mercury rules communication and becomes part of the bond that keeps them mentally connected. His words and his thoughts have a lasting imprint on her. Her Mars trines his Sun. This is an excellent aspect for marriage because it creates momentum between them. The Sun energizes Mars, and Mars stimulates the Sun. So her drive and passion, it feeds his life force. It feeds his confidence and sense of purpose. And his Sun, in return, gives her Mars something to move toward. So these are two people who can push each other forward without constantly fighting the current. So this is very good for a marriage because it shows enthusiasm, courage, physical attraction, and the ability to act as a team. Now her Mars conjuncts his Candy asteroid, 0 degrees. This is excellent for sexual sweetness, flirtation, and physical desire. Mars is her pursuit energy, her heat and sexual drive. Candy is sweetness, pleasure, and it's craving. It's the thing that you want another bite of. So when her Mars conjuncts his Candy, her desire is right on his sweetness and craving point. He feels this temptation. Her passion can activate his sexual appetite. There is a playful but sensual quality here. Like she doesn't just turn him on, but he becomes something she wants to taste, and it gives her a sexual sugar high. Now, this is not exactly the flip side of the coin, but it is where the chart gets more delicate. His Dejanira, Child, and Venus conjuncts her Neptune. Venus conjunct Neptune can be the par excellence of romantic attraction. This is the dream, the fantasy, the music playing in the background. It can create this epic feeling of love, glamour, and enchantment. When Venus touches Neptune, the person can seem larger than life, more magical, more meaningful than just ordinary reality. But Neptune also brings fog. And this is where I have to look more carefully because his Degenerate and child are there with Venus. Degenerate here brings vulnerability. And because it's holding hands with child, there is innocence wrapped around that vulnerability. So this is not just Venus falling into Neptune's dream. This is Venus, the planet of love, with Degenerate and child all walking into that same Neptune mist. That can create a very innocent idealization. He may see her through a soft, focused lens. The love can feel pure and magical, but the danger with Neptune is that eventually the fog lifts. And when it does, they will have to see what was real and what was projection. So yes, this can be incredibly romantic. And with Degenerate and child holding hands with Venus, like I said, there is also vulnerability. It's the vulnerability of believing in the dream so completely that reality can come crashing in later. And this can be especially true because his Uranus and Neptune opposes her moon. And that can blur her emotional reality. He can feel like a dream, a fantasy, a spiritual pull, something that she feels deeply, but she can't always define clearly. And then Uranus brings the shockwave. Uranus opposing moon can create excitement, unpredictability, and emotional disruption. So this is not just a Neptune fog. It's a fog with lightning in it. So this can make the connection feel magical and unstable at the same time. One moment there is the dream, the romance, the spell. And the next moment there can be distance, surprise, detachment, or a feeling that the ground moved underneath her feet. So when I see his Venus, Degenerate, and child conjunct her Neptune, and then his Uranus and Neptune opposing her moon, I would say yes. The romance is powerful, but the emotional lens can get distorted. She can idealize him, feel swept into the dream, and then have to deal with moments where the dream changes shape. The test is whether the fantasy can survive reality, whether the spell still works when they are not in Sicily or not in wedding clothes or not in a beautiful photographs, but inside the ordinary rhythm of marriage. Because that is where Neptune either becomes a spiritual high vibrational devotion or disappointment. I will be back soon with more Synastry charts.